All right, so now let's talk about Darren Waller. I was very bullish on him a year ago and drafted him, I think, everywhere I could. And he just couldn't stay healthy. Like, it just was that when he was on the field, I thought he looked fine, but he was just never on the field last year. And we had to wait. Like, there were these updates I remember last year, week after week. Is he going to be back? Is he going to play? And a couple of years ago, he comes out of nowhere, Davis, to be one of the top tight ends in fantasy. He backs it up the following year and then lays this egg completely last year. So if I know that Waller is going to play in 15, 16 games, then I think he's probably being drafted a little too low. But I think that's a little baked into the ADP here, is just not knowing. And as you mentioned, he hasn't been a full participant here in camp.
I think you're right. I actually do think Darren Waller, a lot of the risk, a lot of the concern is baked into his ADP, because if you look at his per game statistics when he has been a member of the Raiders, I mean, like, look at his 2020 season: 145 targets, 107 receptions, 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns. That's a Travis Kelce season. That's not even a Mark Andrews, peak Jimmy Graham. I mean, that is like a wide receiver one season, but at tight end. And the Waller thing is crazy because he was a wide receiver. He came into the NFL as a wide receiver. That's the position he played at Georgia Tech. He was a member of the 49ers and a member of the Ravens. And you might be like, well, why was he not good on those teams? Darren Waller, pretty interesting story. He was like a very severe alcoholic and drug addict, and got his life together. I think there was, I want to say the Raiders did Hard Knocks maybe 2 seasons ago, and there was kind of one episode that was dedicated to Waller's sort of journey to where he ended up. And also, if you look at the contracts that he has played under in his career, he has not made very much money as an NFL player, right? Because he was a practice squad guy signed to a very low veteran contract. So I also don't blame him right now for saying, you got to pay me, because again, his career is kind of weird. He's already 29 years old, actually entering into his age 30 season. I don't blame him for wanting to get paid. Waller, probably one of my bigger stands in fantasy this year. Very similar to the Renfro thing. I acknowledge it could go wrong, right? He could hold out. He could be in bad shape because he hasn't been in training camp. He could pull that hamstring early, but if Derek Carr's going to throw for 4,500 yards and Waller's going to play 17 games, I mean, I think he could be the number one tight end in fantasy, right? I mean, he could have 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, absolutely no problem. And I think the addition of Devontae Adams probably helps him a little bit, because who's that safety going to be on? Where's that second eye going to be? It's going to be on Adams, not on him.